Hi and welcome to this demo where we will go through how to create a pipeline through GitLab's CI/CD for a React application. GitLab is doing a fantastic job of offering your DevOps team great tools for more efficient workflows. An example of this is the continuous integration and continuous deployment service. This enables developers to integrate code into a shared repository frequently, after which automatic builds, tests, and deployments are made. In this demo, we will automate building, testing, and deploying of an application to the PaaS platform Heroku. This demo will assume that you already have an account on GitLab and Heroku and Git installed on your machine. It also assumes that you have set up an example remote project or folder on GitLab and that you can push and pull from it on your local machine. This is the folder that is connected to my remote repo on GitLab. This folder contains my React application and contains some simple jest tests. As mentioned, this is a remote folder, and here it is on my GitLab account as well. The first thing we will do is to create a GitLab CI YML file in the root of the project. In this file, we will specify the pipeline and give instructions to the CI what it should do. We will begin by specifying that we want to use the node Docker image, as our project is a React project. This ensures that the build and testing environments will be sufficient for the application. We will then specify the pipeline structure on the following format. We will first have an install stage, a build stage, a test stage, and finally a deploy stage. These stages will be defined by writing jobs that will belong to one or more of these stages. Let's begin with the install job. We will define it as follows. Firstly, we need to specify that the stage that it belongs to is the install stage. Then we will say that the script that this job should run is simply the npm install script, as this will install all the dependencies that the React application needs to run. We will then save these dependencies by specifying the path to them under artifacts. This means that during the next stages, these files can simply be used instead of needing to run the install script again. We will then move on to the build job. As for the previous job, we specify what stage that it belongs to and what scripts that should be used. Here we use the npm run build script. We will also define that the build job is dependent on the install job, which means that it uses the node module files that were created in the install job. Next, we will define the test job. We're adding the stage, and the script we use here is to run the jest tests. It needs the files from the install job, so we will put those as a dependency as well. Finally, it's time to define the production job. As we will be using a tool called DPL built in Ruby, we will specify to use a Ruby Docker image. The scripts we will run at this job is a bit more advanced than at the previous. We will first use the apt-get update. We'll then use install ruby dev, which will install Ruby. After this, we will use the command gem install dpl to install dpl. We then run the dpl command, specify Heroku as provider, and set the app name as well as the API key to environmental variables. We are now done with the GitLab CI file. As you may suspect, our next goal will therefore be to set up environmental variables in GitLab. But before we can do that, we have to create a new project in Heroku. Click the New button and choose Create New App. Enter the name of the application and choose your location. Go to Settings, scroll down and add the Create React App build pack. A link to this build pack will be included in the description below. Next, we will collect the API key needed to be able to deploy to this Heroku account. We will now go to GitLab and set up the environmental variables. Go to your project folder, go to Settings and choose CI/CD. Expand the variables section and enter Heroku API key as key and retrieved API key from Heroku as value. Then create another variable and enter Heroku app as key and the name of your application as value. We're now done setting up our pipeline, and all we need to do is to push to GitLab for it to be run automatically. When we go to GitLab and click on CI/CD, we can see that the pipeline is run. When all the stages are successfully done, the application will be deployed on Heroku. Let's check it out live. To get the link to your application, go to Heroku and press Open App. As an Easter egg, the application links to an article about how to write tests with Jest framework. As the GitLab repo for this project is linked in the description below, you can recreate the steps in this demo and then modify either the code or the tests so that they will fail. You can do this as an exercise and see that the code is not pushed into production at Heroku if the test job fails. This holds for any of the other jobs as well, and thereby ensures that code that doesn't build properly or fails the tests is not deployed.